Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to This Just In's WWE 2k24 Universe Mode. We are following up as the second part of NXT Stand and Deliver. This is the Stand Saturday event going on currently, and we are reaching part 2 as we are about to see an 8-man tag team matchup featuring now coming out to the ring first. We see a former champion here in Universe Mode is Sheamus.
It's fight night! Behold the power of the Celtic Warrior.
Sheamus spending much of his this year in Universe Mode beefing with Damian Priest and members of the Judgment Day, something that he has in common with the team that he will be facing here tonight, as a matter of fact, which we will get into as we see those entrants make their way to the ring, but perhaps a newfound alliance amongst himself with his following cohorts that will be following him up next coming out to the ring. But Sheamus has found himself also competing in the NXT United Kingdom Championship division here in NXT as well. Some battles over the past few months. Sheamus also a former tag team champion here in Universe Mode as one half of the Bar in the past.
Gallus is here.
Them being two-time champions here in Universe Mode. And next we see coming out to the ring Gallus making their entrances, and they're wearing those NXT United Kingdom Tag Team Championship belts, which they did not earn here in Universe Mode. Those aren't recognized championships as an aspect here of the Universe Mode, but rather just ornaments for these men as bragging rights.
I'm sure they're in a rush to get back there too.
As part of the NXT United Kingdom brand, the only current champion here in Universe Mode that is officially recognized is the man that we will see defending that championship tomorrow night, I believe, and that being Claudio Castagnoli currently.
When Gallus is in action, everyone is a target.
Mark Coffey, Joe Coffey, and Wolfgang making up Gallus. Perhaps looking to forge an alliance here tonight with Sheamus that might bring them all to success. Sheamus positioning himself as the leader of the pack, telling the competition to bring it on, as now we see the entrance music, the Titantron of the Latino World Order, the LWO, being led by, of course, Rey Mysterio, a man who has been very active here in Universe Mode over the course of the year. Going back earlier this year to NXT Heatwave, we saw Rey Mysterio in a tag team match with Eddie Guerrero, in which Eddie Guerrero turned his back on Rey Mysterio and joined up with the Judgment Day. At the time, it was JD McDonough and Dom Mysterio. JD, of course, we just saw in our first part become the new NXT X Division champion. But now finally, we see Rey Mysterio with two men that we know will have his back here tonight. We are left to wonder who will be the fourth member of the LWO to join these men here tonight. As mentioned, Rey Mysterio with a bit of a layoff earlier this year because of his rivalry with the Judgment Day, being turned on at Heatwave by Eddie Guerrero, following up with a grudge match that was held at NXT Halloween Havoc, in which Rey Mysterio walked away injured, and within a lengthy layoff until he made his return 3 months later at NXT Roadblock Rumble at the number 27 spot. Now we see making his entrance down to the ring is Carlito, someone that we don't know truly his allegiance when it comes to the rivalry between Rey Mysterio and his son and the faction that he leads, being the Judgment Day here in NXT. Rey Mysterio has had a very difficult year at the hands of his son, and Carlito, someone who has had an affiliation in the past with the Judgment Day, but perhaps being called upon here tonight to represent the LWO. we got to just hope that his best interests are aligned for the sake of Rey Mysterio, a man who, as mentioned earlier, had a lengthy layoff for a few months here in Universe mode. And we see Rey Mysterio squaring off with Sheamus to start this matchup, looking to go for a series of strikes here. Perhaps not the best approach, if I had to say, for Rey. And now we see a springboard crossbody. That's more like the kind of arsenal that we've come to expect from Rey Mysterio, rebounding off of the ropes and now dropping the axe handle across the face of Sheamus. Following it up with a T-Harris from Rey Mysterio, who sports a Terminator-style ring attire here tonight. Very stylish as always. Rey Mysterio paying tribute and representing an aspect of his interest. Tag made now to Cruz del Toro, who positions himself on the top rope, looking to dive down onto Sheamus. However, Sheamus still being occupied at the hands of Rey Mysterio. Del Toro, though, going to meet Sheamus on the outside and try to bring this action back inside the ropes. Sheamus making the crawl to the turnbuckle pad and efficiently makes the tag to Joe Coffey, but Cruz del Toro positioning himself for an arm breaker on Sheamus before he is able to evade the ring, but that leaves him at the disadvantage against Joe Coffey, who just takes him for an airplane spin front face lock. Absolutely disorienting Cruz del Toro, and following that up with a running crossbody. Gallus never quite achieving championship success here in Universe mode throughout the years. However, being a presence here in the NXT brand throughout the year, as Wolfgang in the same contention for Sheamus for that United Kingdom championship. Springboard moonsault to try and get out of the corner from Cruz del Toro, but it's evaded by Mark Coffey, who now sends Cruz del Toro back into the mat. And the LWO also looking to make a breakout performance perhaps here tonight. Back body drop from Joe Coffey's going to make that hard to do. Pinfall attempt here, only a 1 count. Shoulder tackle takedown. I think the most interesting aspect of this match will have to be the relationship that Carlito and Rey Mysterio will share, to see how their allegiance goes. Super kick there. We know that Rey Mysterio can rely on his partners in the LWO, but as far as Carlito's true intentions, that is still truly yet to be revealed as far as this goes. And now a power slam takedown. He was looking for the tag there to Joaquin Wilde, but Wilde taking a step down off of the apron, and now Del Toro making the tag to Carlito to get himself a reprieve for the time being. Coffey now still positioning himself to be distracted and on the offensive side at the hands of the LWO in their corner, looking to fight off all the contenders, but that leaves himself open to advantage from the others. Irish whip now from Coffey sends him off the ropes, and a huge power slam. Stomps to the hand now of Carlito from Joe Coffey. Just absolutely nasty offense. Continuously remaining on the offense here against Carlito, maintaining the advantage. Looking for an Uranagi there, but it was reversed by Carlito with a series of back elbows. Now Carlito reversing it to a maneuver of his own, an elevated flatliner. 1, 2, and a near fall there. At the count of 2, gets his shoulder up, does Joe Coffey. Now we see Carlito now needing to make the tag, and he does so to Rey Mysterio. Surprisingly, these two getting along here. That was, as I mentioned, what we have to look for in this match to see how those two will get along. Facebuster there from Rey Mysterio. Rey, a man who has had his own issues with the Judgment Day throughout the course of the year. Now a power slam to Joe Coffey. Big strength from Rey Mysterio that he's showing on display here. And a springboard off the ropes moonsault to follow that up. Ray now looking to make the tag into Joaquin Wilde here. Perhaps going to look for a double team maneuver of their own now. As Ray now escaping out of the ring. Joaquin Wilde's going to walk over to the ropes. And a diving plancha down onto Joe Coffey, who is on the outside. LWO salute from Joaquin Wilde to the fans in attendance here tonight at Stand and Deliver.
And he gets sent back into the ring. Ooh, man. And that's a bold
Joaquin Wilde now fired up, takes Sheamus out of the corner. Look to do the same for Wolfgang, a man who is completely fresh still in this matchup, yet to see action, so able to counter that. Now sunset flip off of the code red from Joaquin Wilde, but a kick out from Joe Coffey. Trapped in the corner where he would have the advantage amongst his partners. Reversal there from Wilde now. Turns Joe Coffey around now into a rewind Rana. Poison Rana to Joe Coffey. Pinfall attempt here and another near fall on Coffey. Coffey once again ever so resilient in this matchup. Able to continuously get his shoulder up and maintain his stay in this matchup. And if you look at the health bars at the bottom, you can see Joe Coffey taking the brunt of the offense in this match so far. Springboard moonsault had the pin attempt, but Wolfgang that time in to break up the pinfall, and perhaps necessarily so considering the damage that Joe Coffey has taken in this matchup. Probably the most of anybody on his team, now being sent face first into the turnbuckle pad. Tag into Rey Mysterio at the hands of Joaquin Wilde, and now Wilde going to launch Mysterio off of the turnbuckle and into a diving shoulder tackle. But behind Rey Mysterio's back when he goes to take out Sheamus, we see Joe Coffey make the tag into his brother, Mark Coffey. Now Coffey with the strength advantage for sure. That's for sure on Rey Mysterio. Sends him into the turnbuckle pad. Tag into Wolfgang for the first time in this match. And a series of knee strikes following it up with a double suplex from the hands of Gallus. And can they maintain this advantage on Rey Mysterio? Rey narrowly avoiding that knee drop. That would have been devastating for him here. Dialing him up. Oh, Rey Mysterio, however, positions Wolfgang for the 619. Returning now back to the inside. Springboard moonsault. Harihara moonsault from Rey Mysterio to the inside. Looks for the pin attempt on Wolfgang there, but Mark Coffey in to make the interruption, and in the process of doing so takes out the referee here. And as such, Gallus able to get the advantage there on Mysterio, who looked to get some redemption on Mark Coffey. Now the pin attempt, the referee just now recovering. Pinfall attempt on Rey there, but Rey once again able to get the shoulder up still. Wolfgang now picking up Rey Mysterio, looking to send him into the turnbuckle. However, Rey countering it and sending Wolfgang out amongst his tag team partners. A lot going on here as Wolfgang countered Carlito. Carlito on the inside trying to go after somebody, but now a wasteland on the outside from Wolfgang to Rey Mysterio takes Rey out for the time being. Attempted Spanish fly is countered by Wolfgang with a clothesline, but on the inside we see Carlito taking out Sheamus, Mark, and Joe Coffey all off of the aprons one by one, but Wolfgang clearing house on the outside in his own right. Now we see these two squaring off. Wolfgang and Carlito Irish whip, but brings him back into the knee strike to the chest and lower abdomen.
And that holds Wolfgang back.
Carlito with a counter here. Suplex attempt, spins him out for a swinging neck breaker. And now up to the second rope from Carlito. Diving elbow drop from Brett's rope. Now Carlito going to look to bring him into the turnbuckle here. Sending Wolfgang into the turnbuckle, turning him around, and a long blower, backstabber pinfall attempt here from Carlito, but the pinfall broken up before the count of three can be administered at the hands of Joe Coffey. Carlito looking to take down Coffey with that clothesline, but finding himself in enemy territory as Mark Coffey and Sheamus both landing strikes on him in the corner. And I must say, both these teams really functioning very well together here tonight. Much to my surprise, running knee strike follows it up with a clothesline. And now Carlito up to the top rope. Look to go off of the turnbuckle pad. Surprisingly, no encounter from Gallus or Sheamus there, as he looked for the whisper in the wind off of the top rope to land on Wolfgang, but Wolfgang able to evade. And now an Irish whip attempt here from Carlito sends Wolfgang off of the ropes. Wolfgang, though, answering back with a series of strikes. Now gonna pick Carlito up and drill him with a pile driver. Absolutely brutal. Forearm strike to the face now follows it up. Series of forearm strikes here from Wolfgang. Counter from Carlito with the back elbow to the face. Turns Wolfgang about face, but receives a back elbow in his own right for his troubles. Now picked up in the fireman's carry. Dropped with a juice box. Double knees to the gut. Wolfgang, though, looking to make the tag into Sheamus here, as we see simultaneously Carlito making the tag to Rey Mysterio. Sheamus comes running in with a lariat that's countered by Rey with a grounded drop kick. Now returning to the turnbuckle pad and going for an around the world drop kick to the face of Sheamus. Now takes Sheamus down with a forearm strike, but Sheamus fired up. Rey simultaneously taking out Wolfgang off of the ropes. Rey now being rebounded off of the ropes at the hands of Sheamus with a counter from Rey Mysterio. Rey hoisting Sheamus up. The strength of Rey Mysterio coming back from his injury, a much better and stronger version of himself to be able to hoist Sheamus up for that German suplex, which rattles Sheamus enough for Rey to land the 619 and follow that up with a springboard frog splash. But now we see Wolfgang recovering in the meantime on the outside and able to break up that pinfall attempt there. Rey, as he looks to go after Wolfgang, gets shoved back down to the ground. Springboard moonsault from Rey Mysterio now keeps Sheamus down. Rey looking to clear the corner to prevent Sheamus from getting any help here, as he has done so successfully. All of Gallus being sent to the outside. Now we see a code red from Rey Mysterio. Pinfall attempt here and near fall from Rey Mysterio. However, Sheamus reversing the momentum, and now Rey Mysterio reversing the momentum. Back and forth these two go. Very near pinfall attempts there from both competitors. Narrowly able to escape. Now Rey finally making the tag out to Joaquin Wilde, who follows up with a drop kick into the corner to Sheamus, and another drop kick to a seated Sheamus into in the turnbuckle. Sheamus, though, springing back up to his feet rapidly. Another Irish whip, though, from Joaquin Wilde sends him into the turnbuckle. Looks for that corner European uppercut. It's countered by Sheamus, who now sends Joaquin into the corner and looks to make the tag here to Wolfgang. Irish curse backbreaker across the knee, and Wolfgang following it up with a massive knee drop from the top. That is grounds for termination in this matchup. If Wolfgang could officiate a pinfall here following that suplex into a cutter to follow that up. Wolfgang landing a serious series of offense, assisted by Sheamus. Now looking for the fireman's carry once more on Joaquin Wilde, but it is countered and sidestepped. Now again, suplex into an Urashoa 10 from Wolfgang. Pinfall attempt and a very lackadaisical cover. And ironically so, the person who's able to break up that pinfall, the ever so lackadaisical Carlito. But he is very serious about his business of representing the LWO here tonight and proving his stripes, as he broke up that pin for the sake of his team there. Series of elbow strikes now from Joaquin Wilde. Now Wilde being sent into the turnbuckle here from Wolfgang. But Wolfgang having him in the wrong corner, as Joaquin Wilde can get the assistance of his tag team partners right now if they are able to step into position. Now Rey Mysterio receiving the tag once more. Irish whip to Wolfgang and a double shoulder block takedown from the two. Rey Mysterio now going high risk to the top rope, and a frog splash from Rey Mysterio onto Wolfgang, but Sheamus right there to break up the pinfall before Ray can secure the pinfall attempt on Wolfgang. Now Ray taking out all of Wolfgang's help over in the corner. Now going to be looking for the frog splash once more to Wolfgang, but Wolfgang evades it. Very nearly landing that frog splash. Wolfgang looking for a big boot, but now all around the world tilt-a-whirl from Rey Mysterio, who now goes high risk to the top rope, and a frog splash that just barely comes up short, just barely reaching Wolfgang. Both two very exhausted in this matchup. Ray looking to go the distance, and now following it up with a 619 now attempt to Wolfgang, rebounding off of the ropes, led by Cruz del Toro, and landing that 619 pin. And frog splash. Pinfall here. 1, 2, and 3. Rey Mysterio has landed the pinfall for his team, and he has now secured himself. Difficult loss here tonight to see for Sheamus and Gallus doing their best, and some impressive combination offense that we could see in the future. Look at this here. The Irish Curse knee drop was huge. A huge maneuver that we could see here in the future, or a Sheraton there from Wolfgang. But Rey Mysterio able to lead the LWO to success, and Carlito proving that he can be trustworthy amongst this crowd. Perhaps going forward here in Universe mode. Big celebration here for the LWO. Up next, we have Lex Luger, who is being accompanied to the ring by the $1 Million Man, going up against, making his Universe mode debut, as far as I can recall, I think, the Ultimate Warrior here tonight. Two competitors here on NXT Stand and Deliver that want to move themselves forward in the singles division. Here we see Luger making his way to the ring. Luger, a man who made his presence known for the first time this year in 2K24 here in Universe mode, and in doing so earned himself a NXT North American Championship match that was held back at NXT New Year's Evil against Cody Rhodes, the man who has held that North American Championship for the entirety of this calendar year, ever since his victory at NXT Gold Rush over Bryan Danielson, the former champion, way back at the beginning of the season. So Cody has really gone the distance with that North American Championship. We will definitely be seeing him defending that championship very shortly. However, Luger making his presence known here tonight in a competition of two competitors that really intensify quickly here in the match. It's a fire that burns really bright, I will say, amongst these two. So I would not expect a long drawn-out contest, but more so an absolute showcase of capability at the hands of these two, as Luger now taking up the spotlight, and we see the allegiance between himself and the $1 Million Man on the outside. Perhaps the $1 Million Man thinking that he can latch himself on to the success here of Luger in Universe mode and profit off of his investment.
You are in love with yourself, but you have every right to be.
Tons of gesturing here from Luger. We can get this show on the road onto the next entrance right about now. And next we see coming out to the ring, it's the Ultimate Warrior. And he's blown up. He is blown up already within the first 3 seconds of his appearance now. He is going crazy. He is going ham. What will he leave? We had so much corner pyro in these two entrances. Wow. But will he leave anything left in the tank for this matchup is what we're waiting to find out here. And Luger said, I've had enough of you showing off. Looks to interject himself in this matchup immediately with the debuting Warrior. Rebound off of the ropes, and a big boot there from Warrior to Luger. Strike to the the midsection at the hands of Luger. And now a series of kicks here in the corner. Luger gaining the advantage off the interruption that he did for the Ultimate Warrior's entrance that caused him to get the jump here. Now rebounding off of the ropes and taking Warrior over the top with a clothesline. Now launching Warrior across the ringside area there. Luger fired up now at the prospect of defeating the Warrior here tonight. I think a lot of people would co-sign that. I think a lot of people would be happy to see that as well. But just as many that are happy to see Luger succeed here tonight as are in the building. Warrior sent into the barricade now. Ultimate Warrior certainly has his own fans in his own right. But who really cares about them is what Luger has said in the past. Who really cares about the supporters that you need? It's about success. It's about victories here in NXT. Luger knows that because that's what brought him to that championship competition in the past. Now the strength of Luger hoisting up Ultimate Warrior and launching him with a heel toss across the ring, but Warrior not taking that lightly, gets back up to his feet here. Now bell clap to Luger. Power slam attempt here from the Ultimate Warrior after he has had the time to catch his breath now. Drops him snake eyes into the turnbuckle and a heel toss of his own that we saw Luger do. Vice versa. Leg drop to the leg, brother. And axe handle takes him down. Now the strength of the Ultimate Warrior to lift up Lex Luger for this prolonged period for the bear hugs. But Luger answering back with a series of downward elbows and another bell clap, this time at the hands of Luger. Knee to the midsection now from Luger. Hoisting Ultimate Warrior up and a huge press slam. Now again, heel tossing the Ultimate Warrior. A move that these two have done to one another as a show of power and dominance in this matchup. On the outside, however, Luger catching a knee to the face at the hands of Warrior. Warrior sending him the back of his head down onto the mat. Referee counting from the inside now as we see Luger sent into the barricade at the hands of Warrior. Power slam attempt there from Luger is countered.
He needs to find his way back into the ring. The count just keeps going up.
Series of elbow strikes now from Luger to escape out of that, returning back to the inside of the ring. And Luger catches Warrior unexpectedly, looking for a pile driver attempt, but it was countered by the Ultimate Warrior there.
He's taking this to the floor now. Big.
Momentum was able to shift, but Luger escaping to the outside, looking for an escape out there. However, Warrior not allowing it and going to look to follow him to bring the action and the chaos back to the outside. But that might just play into Luger's benefit here as he smashes the face of Warrior into that barricade and gains the advantage, sending him back to the inside and following that up with a axe handle now to the back, just continuously working him over. Back suplex release from Luger. The strength on display once again at the hands of Luger to just release, toss Ultimate Warrior. Now a downward elbow. Taking Warrior back up to his feet here and sending Warrior into the turnbuckle pad here. What could Luger be thinking? A series of shoulder thrusts and following it up with a clubbing blow to the lower back. Power slam attempt here from Warrior. They look to bring Luger all the way across the ring and bring him into the turnbuckle. Pinfall attempt here from Warrior. And a kick out now. Luger still got some left in him for this matchup. Reversal there sends the shoulder of Warrior down into the canvas. And a rebound off of the ropes. Clothesline. Takedown from Luger. Kick to the midsection. And now we see Luger once again looking to hoist him up from the powerbomb position. But countered with a back body drop once more by the Ultimate Warrior, who now picks Luger back up while he was getting to his feet and lands a vertical suplex. Stomp now to Luger, turns him over, and looking for an ultimate splash that is countered by Luger, however. Sidesteps that, but a world's strongest slam from the Ultimate Warrior. Now Luger down in a seated position. Warrior comes charging in with a knee strike to the face. Now Warrior tying up with Luger. Counter back elbow from Warrior. Warrior there with a clothesline takedown. Military press splash. And going to look to follow up with the ultimate splash there. Now dragging Luger back into the middle of the ring. Perhaps going to look for that maneuver once more. Another ultimate splash from the Ultimate Warrior to Lex Luger. Turning him over for the pinfall attempt here. 1, 2, and a near fall. Kick out from Luger, however, showing some fight in this matchup. Now heading to the top rope here, we see Ultimate Warrior with a diving elbow drop. Halfway across the ring was Luger for that one. Now military press from Warrior, hoisting him up, and the strength of Warrior to power him up. Pinfall now. 1, 2, and a kick out once more from Lex Luger. Luger refusing to give up in this matchup, but a ultimate splash again from Warrior. 1, 2, and 3. That will do it. Following, I believe it was 3 ultimate splashes and 2 military presses from Ultimate Warrior. Warrior is able to pick up the victory in his debut match here in NXT, but Luger did not make it easy for him.
Luger taken down in defeat. This is not what some people thought we'd see. Certainly not Lex himself.
You got to think that $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase might be reconsidering his investment on the outside of the ring at a time like this. And now we move on to the last, I believe the last match of Part 2. We have a Hell in a Cell contest here tonight between Bobby Lashley and the Game, Triple H. And who's going to be making his way down to the ring first in this matchup is a man who throughout the year in Universe Mode has had some tremendous matches and moments as a part of this brand and really elevated the game of a lot of people here in NXT, that being Bobby Lashley, a man who earlier this year went to toe-to-toe with Rick Rude at Gold Rush, and last month really gave Josh Alexander a run for his money at NXT No Mercy in a match that really could have determined the championship outcome and outlook here tonight in championship matches. Of course, back at NXT Heatwave, Bobby Lashley, also a man who had attempted to take the North American Championship from Cody Rhodes, but unsuccessful in doing so at that time. But a very credible contender here in Universe Mode for any championship that he looks to go after. And coming out next is a man who not too long ago was one half of the NXT Tag Team Champions. He held those belts for 27 days with Shawn Michaels as part of D-Generation X and has really represented the NXT brand for the past few years here in Universe Mode to the best of his ability. A man that you really don't hear talked about often enough, as he would make you want to believe, and a man who also would probably make you want to believe that he is the creator and the innovator of the Hell in a Cell But that is also not true, as amongst many, many other things that this guy says and represents, we have the liar, the nose, Triple H. Triple H has misrepresented what it's all about to be a WWE superstar over the past few years here in Universe Mode, and his reign of terror did not stop when he stopped being an in-ring competitor, as it turns out, as he returns to action here in Universe Mode in NXT just to make people's lives yet even more miserable. The last interesting thing that Triple H has even really done here, I would say, in Universe Mode would be his multi-man tag match between D-Generation X and the NWO that was held at WWE 2k24 NJPW versus WWE Survivor Series. A video that was uploaded almost 2 years ago. But that would be the last time that Triple H would reach any degree of relevancy, I would say, here in Universe Mode, and I think that is most likely for the better. But now serving as essentially a gatekeeper here tonight for Bobby Lashley on the NXT brand. A man who, throughout the year, as I mentioned, Bobby Lashley has really in his own right kind of been a competitor that many have considered a brick wall when it comes to the NXT singles championship division. Yet at the same time, unfortunately, Bobby Lashley unsuccessful in the Royal Rumble match. And snap suplex here from Lashley. Lashley, of course, being a part of that match, entering at number 14 in the Rumble. All the competitors that competed in the Royal Rumble being featured throughout NXT. Of course, we saw Rey Mysterio earlier tonight, a person who entered the Rumble at 27 back then. Now Triple H gesturing to the crowd. Series of strikes now, these two going back and forth with this series of heavy hitting strikes and combinations. Suplex there from Bobby Lashley, but brings him back down face forward into that gourd buster. Series of stomps and strikes from Bobby Lashley, and Triple H looking to go for a roll up there. Countered, however, by Lashley with a running shoulder tackle that takes down Triple H as well. Now hoisting him up for the military press here and dropping him down face first. Oh, quickly Bobby Lashley following that up with a wrestling-like takedown. Series of ground and pound drops at the hands of Lashley. He now just taunts in the face of Triple H. Triple H, however, not going to allow that. Brings down Bobby Lashley with that Fujiwara armbar now. Lashley, however, very well versed in MMA, going to counter out of that with a knee strike to the head. Very impressive showcase of power, agility, and strength from Bobby Lashley all around. Military press onto the knee and follows it up with the Anaconda Vice headlock there. Pinfall attempt there on, or rather a submission attempt there on Triple H. That's countered, and now H sending Bobby Lashley over the top rope and to the outside. European uppercut there from Triple H, and Lashley escapes around the steel steps, and as Triple H looks to follow him, Lashley sends Triple H face first into the steps to counter out of it. Now Triple H sends Lashley, being the one to send Lashley into the steps knee first, and a rough landing for Lashley there as it looked very dangerous outside of the cage. Face first once more into the steel steps at the hands of Bobby Lashley goes the game. Now Lashley looking to introduce a weapon from underneath the ring. He brings a table into this match, much to the delight of the fans in attendance, and again fighting off Triple H and sending him face first into those steel steps yet again. Another weapon being introduced at the hands of Lashley as he sends a trash can back to the inside. Triple H, though, looking to follow him up as well. Military press, though, onto the knee of Lashley. Now Lashley gator rolling Triple H on the ground and finding themselves rolling over that wooden table introduced by Lashley. Crossface here, and we see the bloodied face of Triple H now. Lashley giving us a look at the laceration. Turning over Triple H to the side and powering him up for a Dominator. Out of nowhere, pinfall attempt here now from Lashley. 1, 2, and Triple H getting the shoulder up there. Barely in time. Lashley now with the trash can, bringing the trash can down across the body of Triple H to devastating effect. Lashley fired up on the inside of the ring now, taunting in celebration of his accomplishment here tonight, being able to absolutely decimate Triple H, but Triple H now landing a series of strikes and a clubbing blow across the back, following it up with a back elbow and a spine buster onto the not folded, but the laid out prone table, perhaps catching a Wilde edge across the back is Bobby Lashley. Pinfall attempt there, though. It's only a 1 count, but now Triple H sending the trash can directly into the body of Bobby Lashley. Attempted trash can shot now from Triple H. Countered series of strikes now from Lashley. And Lashley with the back elbows to the face in the corner at the hands of Lashley to Triple H. The two weapons now introduced into this matchup have come into play a couple times here. Kick to the gut, but now we see Triple H looking for the pedigree. Countered, however, by Lashley, who is able to reverse it, spin out, and catch Triple H with that lariat. Now a pop-up spine buster of his own from Lashley. Lashley now going to look to position the table in the corner here. Clubbing blow once more from Lashley. Series of strikes to the face, making him bleed. Lashley attempted big boot as he saw Triple H getting back up to his feet, but again going to hoist up Triple H for that military press across the knee for the gutbuster. A move that Lashley has resorted to a few times in this matchup, but to his benefit. Now we see Lashley picking up Triple H, powering him up, repositioning him, and a Dominator onto that trash can, folding up Triple H and folding up that trash can simultaneously. And now Lashley calling for Triple H to get back up to his feet so that he can nail a spear. Pinfall attempt now from Lashley. 1, 2, and Triple H gets the shoulder up just in time. H now sent to the outside. Bobby Lashley going to return off of the ropes and take out Triple H by sending him off the apron and back first into the Hell in a Cell structure. Cage now coming into play as a part of this matchup, but Triple H now on the outside gets the advantage with that jawbreaker. Now sends Lashley closer to that ring post. Getting Lashley back up to his feet now. European uppercut there from Triple H to Lashley. And now it's Lashley with the reversal. Lashley also who sends Triple H now into the wall and follows it up with a spear that takes the wall out from the Hell in a Cell. And these two men now fighting on the outside of the cage. These two have broken through the bounds of the cell structure, not allowing or permitting that to contain the show of just brutality that we have seen here tonight amongst these two men.
Reversal after reversal. These two are ready for each other. Defenses are sharp in this series of reversals. Oh no, what's this all about?
Lashley holding that grudge against Triple H for the way that he has been positioned here this year on NXT, not receiving that World Championship match that he felt he so deserved against Gunther. Now climbing up the Hell in a Cell, but these two only going up about halfway and then dropping back down now as we continue the fight on the outside. Headbutt to the back of the head, the bald head of Triple H. European uppercut now from Lashley. Looks to follow it up, but Triple H now getting the advantage on the outside with a series of strikes. European uppercut of his own. But now it's Lashley who turns it around. Kick from Lashley, a shot once more to the back of the head. Now Lashley going to look to follow pursuit on Triple H here, who looks to escape yet again by climbing the cage, but Lashley having the opportunity to follow him up here. As he does so, though, simultaneously Triple H climbing down, but now thinking perhaps that he's going to meet Lashley up on the side. These two fighting about 10 feet above our ring right now, or above the floor, I should say. They're even higher up than the turnbuckle pad on the inside of the ring if you look closely. Now returning back down. Lashley perhaps looking to return to an area where he is more capable to continue the fight on Triple H before this gets really out of hand here in the ringside area. European uppercut there from Triple H. Counters that with a strike to the face. Forearm smash there from Bobby Lashley. Now these two find themselves on the ramp. Lashley powering up Triple H for another tilting one-armed spinebuster. Military press again from Lashley. Turns it into a power slam takedown. Lashley fired up on the outside. You see here taunting to the crowd, the people who have gotten behind his back and supported Lashley throughout this matchup, throughout this struggle that he has. He's feeding off of them right now for the energy. Power slam again to Triple H on the outside. Of course, you cannot secure a pinfall from the outside here on the entrance ramp in a Hell in a Cell match. The fall would have to take place on the inside of the ring, but that doesn't mean that you can't use this area to your advantage to do damage on your opponent, as we're seeing. And a lethal clothesline takedown there from Lashley now. Powers him up into a power slam position and hoists him up into a huge power slam on the grate that covers the entrance territory. Absolutely devastating from Lashley. Now it's Triple H who's trying to answer back with a series of strikes, but he should have known better than to try and go strike for strike with a former MMA fighter in his own right. Lashley now sending Triple H even further up on the ramp, getting near the stage area now as we see these two continuing the struggle. Power slam attempt there from Lashley, countered by Triple H, who answers back with a chop block of his own. Perhaps looking to take out the base of Lashley as an attempt to battle back against the strength and the power display that we've seen. But if you don't have that base supporting you, then it's a lot more difficult to do so. Triple H now, though, we see him returning perhaps to the inside of the cell, looking to make his way back over there. Yes, he is walking all the way back to the inside of the cell, but ominously so, Lashley following directly behind him and also going to return to the inside of the cell now. Lashley on the outside, however, scouting, waiting for his advantage to get to the inside of the ring, and it's not timed well as Triple H answers with a clothesline off of the apron that sends Lashley's back first into the cell wall. But now Lashley using those steel steps yet again in this match. Get some offense in on Triple H. Boot to the face off of the apron from at the hands of Lashley. Lashley again sending Triple H into the steel steps. This time, however, they're going to follow him up on the outside, perhaps feeling that he has ascertained a good enough offensive advantage throughout the course of this match to continue that pursuit now. But now Lashley once again going to introduce yet another instrument of destruction into this match, that being the steel chair. Lashley fired up. Looks like he could go for another 20-30 minutes probably at this pace, the way that this one is going. Now Lashley with a clothesline takes down Triple H as soon as he gets back into the ring. Stomp to the face and a stomp to the back of the head now from Lashley in quick succession. Dragon screw leg whip at the hands of Triple H. Now looks to Irish whip Bobby Lashley off of the ropes. Lashley looking to come in for a spear, but it's sidestepped by Triple H, who now from behind is going to turn around Lashley into a power slam attempt. Lashley countering out of that though, and a taste of his own medicine with that chop block to Triple H. A maneuver that Triple H tried to land earlier in this matchup. He looks for the attempted spear out of the corner, but Triple H able to shift the momentum and pulling Bobby Lashley down and into a DDT on that move. Following it up with a chair shot, but no, it's countered by Bobby Lashley, who catches it in the meantime and drives that chair across the face of Triple H. And now we see for the first time Lashley getting some color in this match, busted open at the hands of that last maneuver. Lashley now, though, bringing Triple H all the way over into the corner, rebounding off of the ropes, and a spear through the table, but it's sidestepped just narrowly by Triple H, who sends Bobby Lashley through the table in the corner, all on his own. Clothesline now from Lashley, though, to a Triple H who's returning back to the inside of the ring at the time. Series of stomps now from Lashley. Lashley going to look to follow it up on the inside of the ring with a knee strike to the midsection of Triple H, who we saw prone on the ropes, and believing that he could maintain the advantage there. Another table being introduced into this matchup now by Lashley. Now Lashley going to look to powerbomb Triple H up, and a massive powerbomb that's just going to maintain this overwhelming physical advantage that Bobby Lashley has had for the previous past part of these matches. A release German suplex now that sends Triple H across, essentially across the ring onto that folded up table on the ground, but Triple H now answering back with a series of fists to the face, now rebounding Lashley off of the rebounding himself off of the ropes and catching Lashley with that knee strike to the face. A pinfall attempt here on Lashley, but Lashley getting the shoulder back up once again. Now Triple H looking for that shot to the midsection, to kick to the gut again, to go for the pedigree. Series of reversals here, countering each other as they both attempt to go for something huge. Now the Hurt Lock is being administered as Bobby Lashley maintains the advantage for doing so. These two went back and forth, trading finisher attempts there, but Lashley getting the better of it and locking in the Hurt Lock now on Triple H. But Triple H refusing to give up here, refusing to go down, and refusing to die out here in this matchup, despite being ragdolled by Bobby Lashley back and forth like this. Still Triple H continues to fight on and still refusing to submit here. Now Lashley finally relinquishing the hold and perhaps looking for something new here, but Triple H instead counters Lashley as he was looking to use that chair. Now just double series of leapfrogs. Now a knee strike to the face from Triple H as Lashley was rebounded off of those ropes back and forth. And Lashley getting the shoulder up there. Very nearly had the pinfall attempt there, did Triple H. Now in the corner is Lashley's chair shot to the face of Lashley. As Lashley is positioned in the corner, only going to make that wound on his forehead even worse now. As Triple H now going to look to lock in the Indian Deathlock, the most devastating move in Triple H's mind that could ever be secured. Just an absolutely devastating submission move. especially after using the chop block earlier. And now Triple H sending him to the outside. Lashley going to look to catch his breath. Going to take a minute to recover on the outside here. Triple H kind of doing the same and assessing the situation on the inside now. Triple H getting him back up to his feet here. European uppercut there to Lashley. And Lashley now sends Triple H back first into the cell wall. Stomping on a already grounded Triple H, and now sending him for an Irish whip across the ring. Now going to look to introduce yet another weapon from underneath the ring, and would you know it, it's the sledgehammer of Triple H's, his patented weapon, now being positioned right in the middle of the ring. The sledgehammer being introduced to this match, not by Triple H, but by Bobby Lashley, who strikes the midsection now of Triple H and throws that hammer on him for good measure. Going to look to follow it up now from the corner. Running spear from Lashley, but Lashley feeling like that was not enough yet, and now going to look to pick up Triple H once more for a powerbomb here. Powerbomb, and brings him over and through the table does Lashley. And now charging up once more from the corner, following it up with yet another spear does Lashley. Pinfall attempt 1, 2, and 3. Poetically, Bobby Lashley has put away Triple H with the assistance of the sledgehammer. And there we saw in this matchup the Dominator here on display. Absolutely dominating this matchup despite being hit with that pedigree, being hit with the knee strikes to the face. Yet Bobby Lashley is successful and can ascertain that he has absolutely decimated Triple H inside of one of his legendary match types, that being the Hell in a Cell. The Almighty has risen.